Also, welcome back to another book, A Year of Magical Learning. Chris, what kind of book do we have today?
Yeah, so we are on a book 8, Your Magical Learning today. Our
Awesome.
book is The Inner Game of Tennis by the author Tim Galway. This book is near and dear to my heart. Honestly, it's one of my favorite books that I've ever read in my life. It really has had a pretty profound effect on how I think about improving in things and some of the activities that I do. It was a game changer. Honestly, it applies to anything in life, not just tennis. So hopefully throughout this conversation, I'm able to express that. But yeah, it really was an amazing book and I would highly recommend it. Have either one of you read this by chance?
I have not.
Okay, awesome. Well, then I look forward to the conversation and explaining this a little bit. Quick high level about the book. As you can see here, the book description, The Inner Game of Tennis is a revolutionary program for overcoming self-doubt, nervousness, and lapses of concentration that can keep you from winning. At a high level, what this book does is it actually reminded me a ton of Thinking Fast and Slow, where he talks about a system 1 and a system 2 brain. He flips it though. Thinking Fast and Slow, system 1 is your automatic kind of system and system 2 is your rational brain. In this
Mhm.
book, I think he wrote this before Thinking Fast and Slow. By accident, he called it system 1 and system 2, but he flipped it. So his system 1 is the rational brain. His system 2 is your automatic body functionality, what you just process on your own. The whole book is about how to really unlock the magic of your system 2, your automatic functionalities. We're amazing beings and specimens as humans, and a lot of the things that we can do are just kind of magical, and we're not really thinking about it. So getting out of the way of yourself, that's why the title is called Get Out of Your Own Way. So the reflection that I wrote on this one was, as you guys know, I love tennis. I play tennis all the time. It's been a lifelong passion of mine since I was a little kid, and I still play competitively to this day. I'm never happier than when I'm on a tennis court. Like, you could block me on a tennis court for 8 hours a day, and I'm in my flow state. I'm in a zone. I don't look at my phone. I don't check the internet. I don't look for sports scores or updates or whatever notifications that are blowing you up all day long. I'm in the zone. I don't think about it. I don't care. I'm just doing what I'm doing. The irony of all ironies is I'm telling you guys this, how happy it makes me. But if you ever saw me on a tennis court, I'm so fiery and competitive with myself that you wouldn't know that. I'm constantly yelling at myself, like, move here, do this, move your feet. I've always looked at it as a way for me to fire myself up. But the author talks a lot about how this is basically your rational brain yelling at your body. It's hilarious to think that you can't yell at yourself to do something more effective. Your body just magically does these things, and really you're just limiting yourself when you're constantly saying, roll your wrist to here, or make sure you move your feet there. You can't think about these things while you're in the process, because you're just going to trip yourself up, and it's just like a downward spiral. So what he encourages you to do is to visualize how you want this to actually look. If you're trying to hit a forehand down the line passing shot, like just sit back, zoom out, like look at the whole entire game from like a completely different perspective, to say, what would this look like if I wanted to hit that shot? Then relax, go hit it, and let your body do it. Don't think about it. Just visualize what you want to do and then execute, and let your body be the magical body that it is. So that was kind of the biggest thing that I learned from this book at a high level. And I've been applying it to my tennis game ever since. And honestly, to a lot of other things, whether that be at work,
Mhm.
when you're going into a presentation and you're thinking about all the little steps you need to make sure that you do and the little things you need to say, and it's just get out of your own way. Or when we're doing this conversation right now, I could be sitting here reading the screen and trying to talk to you guys about this stuff, but it's just talk about what we're trying to talk about. Just let myself be myself. If I want to go back to the drawing board and figure out how I could have done that better, great. Visualize what that would look like, and then go just get out of your own way and let yourself do it. That's the reflection overall. So just get out of the way of your own self. Turn it over to you guys. What are your thoughts?
So your lessons that you learned from this?
My biggest lesson is to visualize,
Trust yourself.
trust yourself, trust your
Okay.
body, trust
Okay.
your instincts. We're an evolutionary machine that's been honed for millions of years. To think that we can yell at ourselves and get out of our own
Yeah.
way.
And to that point, I completely agree. As you guys know, I'm a nerd and I'm a computer geek. So I'm gonna give this take from the computer geek's perspective. For me, I think so. Let's start with the system 1, system 2. System 1 to me is like it's the oldest brain, the oldest. It's been I don't know, for whenever before we were humans. System 2 is relatively new. I mean, I'm talking about maybe a million years. The other one's a billion years, right? And so to me, you are who you are based on how system 1 is run, your automatic brain. And so in the way I look at it, system 1, system 2 is like the piece of the iceberg, And so system one is underneath the water and system two is on top of what is the tiny bit. And so system two, they do have the ability to analyze some stuff, but its capacity is so limited.
Right.
So if you let system two do the breathing, you going to die because it couldn't do it. So from a computer programmer's perspective, it's like you running a program and you run out of memory. That's what system two does. So system two is able to make changes, but it can't run parallel processes. It's going to run into itself and it's going to crash.
Right.
So for me, just like the author here, he's saying, look, you can imagine and you can consciously think about what you want to do, and then let the system two take the instructions and do it for you, because it has the ability to control your muscle movement. It has the ability to control multiple type of muscle together at once.
Right.
And so system two can't do that. So train your system one using system two to analyze and give your system one some, I guess, insights and some directions, and have system two take over and do the thing. So that's why, and what I like in one of Bruce Lee's movie, he say, don't think, feel, right?
Exactly.
So you have to feel it. I mean, that's that. When you think, so he say when he's kicking somebody, is he teaching his student when he kicks somebody, you know, you're kicking somebody and you kick them like really hard and he fly off the wall or whatnot. And he said, well, how do I do this? Well, don't think, feel. So to me, it reminds me of Bruce Lee teaching his student, you have to let your body do the thing.
Get out of your own way. It's so hard to do. That's what I was trying to say at the beginning of this. You'll see me a lot of times yelling at myself and I can't fix it. What I tell myself these days is just have fun.
Right.
Just relax. Let your body do what it does. No matter what I do, I will never be able to learn a new skill.
You can translate that same thing with tennis to being in a fight. You can't think, oh, I'm going to punch this way, I'm going to block that way. It doesn't work. Have any of you been in a fight? It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you're getting knocked out every single time. You just can't keep up with your body.
Right. That's why I would say don't think, feel. It applies to not just tennis, but other things too, like driving. You got to feel it. You know how to drive. Feel it. If there's a curve, you hug the curve. If you go down, like in Tokyo Drift or whatever, you go down some kind of wavy, like down the mountain somewhere, and you got to feel it. You can't just think about it. You won't react fast enough. Your system two doesn't have that capacity.
Agreed. Blake, what are your thoughts? You get in here on this.
I think there's such power in doing that in everything that you do, whether it be in sports, whether it be at work. I know with me, sometimes at work, there are things that I know I need to do and I'm not looking forward to and I procrastinate. I'm working on even just visualizing myself doing it well, seeing the benefits beforehand, then getting into it isn't so bad.
Right.
When things go wrong, let's say in a tennis match, if it isn't going to plan, people are so quick to all of a sudden say, okay, I got to change my game plan instead of just stopping and then visualizing, okay, all right, this is the correction, this is what this looks like when this goes right, instead of trying to make these dramatic changes, something you've never done before. But remind me of when you were explaining this was, so like one time I took a swing dance class with my wife, and it was the worst experience in the world. I thought I'd come in and start, do great. But then all of a sudden I was like, I'm not as coordinated. I couldn't pick up on it. And then they kept moving step 3, step 4, and I was so behind. And it was, I was so overwhelmed and almost had a panic attack. I don't know what you do in that situation where, let's say you're playing tennis, something's wrong. I guess, what is the correction then?
That's a great question. So this is the key. If you don't know how to do something, you need to find people that do know how to do it, observe them, and then visualize yourself doing it. Tim Galway is a coach, a tennis coach, the guy that wrote this book, and he was teaching some novice tennis players, that play regularly, but, it seemed like they had plateaued with their game. One particular lady could not hit a deep forehand for whatever weird reason. And he was like, look, just stop. Like, let me show you a few times what this looks like. Then he goes, now I want you to visualize, what does your swing look like if you're going to do exactly what I just did? Don't worry about the technique. Just like, what does it look like for you to get a ball from here to there? I showed you what to do. Now do it with your body. She did it a few times and he was like, just don't think about it. Now let's go try this out a few times. And she hit like 9 out of 10 in a row. She was like, oh my God, I've never done anything like this before. Blake, to your point, you would need to see somebody first that's a really good ballroom dancer. So you can get at least some sort of a visualization as to how does that even look, and then imagine yourself doing what that person was just doing. And then give yourself an opportunity to try that. Like, you can't just invent, I don't know how to pitch a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. I need to go watch somebody that knows how to do it first. Then I can try to emulate that, because our bodies are pretty amazing.
That's why you guys have these beginner's luck kind of deal, just because you can't think about it. You just see somebody does it and you just, okay, how would I do it? And use what I know, what my body knows, and just copy it. So you get to a certain level and then you start thinking about it, and then you start to backtrack your ability a little bit. Because you get yourself in the way of yourself.
Yeah, you start to think what you're doing a little bit, and you're like, oh crap, like, yeah, I know how this technique works. And then you start yelling at yourself, and you think you can tweak corrections with different technique ideas or whatever, and really just you're getting in the way.
That backtracking on your current skill, I think that's a big thing. But you can have a skill, and by trying to all of a sudden tweak things, you can end up just making things worse instead of stopping, zooming out, saying, all right, what do I need to do? Let's do it.
Yep. It's an interesting book. I would highly recommend it if you guys ever wanted to.
I think it's a good lesson, just because, we sometimes forget about that. We need to trust our system one to do the job. And then we need to use system two to kind of get some analysis and tweaks. Now I know how to tweak just one thing, let my system absorb the information, and then have it applied next time. So that's how you improve yourself.
Chris, let me
whether
ask
that's
you,
tennis or in Kung Fu or in
anything.
whatever.
Yeah.
What are some other areas of life that you see like this is something that someone should, like, a lot of different areas this could be applicable towards? So you think a lot of people probably mess up in this area of life, or this, whatever it might be, that you could see this being helpful for?
I'm not lying. I think this applies to anything where you're trying to perform some sort of action, whether that be public speaking.
Like what we do now, it's like we don't think about what you're gonna say. What do you feel like saying? And you say it, right? You can say it wrong and you can adjust. There's no saying, okay, I have to say in a proper way. I have to have beginning, middle, and end, and all this thing that you learn. But you do learn them, but once you learn from system two, you need to hand it off to system one so that it can utilize. So we're talking about what you can do in playing tennis, fighting, driving, even having a habit. It's something that you want to have good habits.
Right.
Right. You think about something and say, okay, I'm thinking about not having coffee, or I'm thinking about not having a cigarette. If I ask you to not think about an elephant, then you think about an elephant, just because you're getting yourself in the way of yourself.
Agree. What do you think, Blake? Where would you not be able to apply this, is my question.
Good question. I think it's kind of reframing your thinking. It's identifying areas that you do get in your own way. I think that's the hard part too, is just understanding where are areas that I am getting in my own way that I can look to apply this. Because a lot of times when you do it, you don't even realize you're doing it. I'll try to be more aware of it. I'll try to get back to you on that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you always rely on system one, because system two has its advantages. It's able to stop and consciously think about stuff and say, is system one doing the right thing? The example would be, I am drinking soda, right? And I just continue to do it because that's what I've been used to doing. So system one is doing what it knows, and it will continue to do the same thing. System two is it has the ability to analyze and change system one to say, well, let's drink Fresca instead. So you have to use two systems based on what it can and cannot do for its advantages, versus kind of clash the two systems together.
Agreed. Yep, definitely advantages of both. In the book Thinking Fast and Slow, Daniel Kahneman talks about everybody thinks the hero is system two in our rational brain. He was like, I'm telling you the truth. The hero is our system one, the automatic functionality. The fact that I'm able to hit a ball 100 mile an hour, pinpoint accuracy, and over and over and over again, that's pretty incredible. There's so much movement and coordination that goes on to be able to make that happen that I don't even see it. I don't feel it anymore. It's just a part of what I can do. But At the same time, it's pretty complicated. The fact that we're able to do some of these things, I'm watching this cheer show with Felicia right now. These people are tumbling, flipping, doing all this stuff all over the place. You guys remember Simone Biles from the Olympics when she had her twisties? That was when she was thinking about what she was doing in the air. And that's freaking dangerous when you're doing 5 flips or whatever it is, like, and you're not, and your body's getting in your brain is getting in the way of your body.
I thought of Sean White when you were saying it, of all the guys who are extreme athletes, you cannot doubt yourself when you're in the air.
You can't think about it. You can't, no, you will kill yourself if you do it.
Because you're not going to land in the right position.
Right. Our bodies are amazing. So that's the final lesson I would give from that one. But so the question for any of the listeners out there is, what would happen if you got out of your own way? Just something to think about when you get into situations where you're performing complex activities and tasks. What would happen if you just got out of your own way? So that's where we'll leave you at for the year of magical learning for book 8.
And let us know.
Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow.